So they took maybe $20 and an old watch? Mr. Manson, did you even take a swing?
No.
Could have taken her, Dad.
Heard you had some excitement last night. I wish they'd have picked my place, you know?
Why didn't you take him out?
I was just trying to keep the damage to a minimum.
Yeah, how's that working out for you?
You okay? Because you don't look okay.
There's a long dormant piece of me that so very badly wants out.
What are you still doing here, old man?
I'm gonna fuck you up. It's been a hell of a day.
You can see that.
For 12 years, I worked for some very dangerous people. Everybody get to the basement.
What is happening?
Don't call 911. I used to be what they call an auditor. The last guy anyone wants to see at their door. Because it meant you didn't have long to live. But I left it behind to start a family. Hey! I might have overcorrected.
When you left, you abandoned a certain debt that needs repayment. And your creditor is aware of your resurrection.
They came after my family.
They stole my kitty cat bracelet.
And you don't fucking do that! Give me the goddamn kitty cat bracelet!
You look like shit, Dad.
You should see the other guys.
Who the fuck are you?
Me? I'm nobody.
In theaters only February 26th.
And welcome everyone to Bullets,
Bourbon,
and Karate, and we got a bonus episode coming at you as we get to talk about...
Nobody.
Woo!
I am
break
excited.
here. I don't want to, there's no pleasantries here. This is a bonus episode. It's short and sweet. We're not even drinking. This movie was badass.
It was. It was a tight, I didn't even look at the runtime, and yeah, we're not going to dive into it, but it was a nicely packed little kind of breath of fun kill movie that just left me satisfied all the way through.
I was so satisfied. The fight scenes, you could see what was happening. You had an unassuming guy, which I liked. It was all about fighting. There was once again, give me a guy or a person who is upset because of a very simple thing, and I'm ready.
Yeah.
It can be as deep as you want it to be. It can be all about family, and that's fine, but it doesn't need to be for me. It needs to be just like, okay, I don't want to do this, and they're making me do this, so here we go. And then you get an hour of just death and destruction, and it's great.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I going into it, I was wondering, it looked good, and I knew I was going to see it, and I knew I wanted to see it. But going into this, I was like, how many more movies can I be excited about where, you know, an agent of some sort has these skills that are laying dormant? And I think as long as we keep putting great actors who have a niche for comedy, drama, you know, or anything into an action role that they seem unassuming to, like Odenkirk, that when they're that good and everything works for them and they can do the part, that it's going to be fun no matter what.
That's key, man. Yeah. You need someone with cachet. You need someone that, like, I don't know, for nobody, casting Bob Odenkirk was like a stroke of It really was. Like, other than Better Call Saul, if you're not like, and Breaking Bad, of course, like that's what most people probably know him as. Otherwise, he's sort of a Second City guy, a lot of comedy and stuff like that. And here he comes in his first big action role, and you want a guy who's unassuming, who looks like he very well could be an accountant. He looks like a weekend warrior, like, oh, this guy jogs. Yeah. But, like, otherwise, you don't think anything about him.
Right. And, yeah, like you said, I mean, not much that he's done as far as, you know, mainstream, but, I mean, Mr. Show's huge, and, like, he is, like, a Chicago legend, I mean, in his own right, for what he's done, writing for SNL, for Conan, and then also writing one of the biggest sketches, you know, with Chris Farley and what is it? What am I thinking of? The
Matt Foley?
Matt Foley. He wrote that
Yeah.
for Farley at Second City. Yeah. And so, you know, he's behind the scenes at a lot of stuff. Great writer, great comedian, and, I mean, just kills it. And I think that was another fun part of it, too. Like we saw in, you know, John Wick, taking it all the way back there, and kind of other movies that led to that. But when you see a guy getting his ass kicked, that's when it's more fun, too. You don't want to see him just...
Yes.
He wakes up and he's just unstoppable. Like, I mean... you know, who am I trying to think of? Matt Damon. I don't know why I just blanked on it. You know what I'm talking about.
Jason Bourne?
Jason Bourne. Like, you see some of that, but I mean, for the most part, he's just wrecking shit all the way through that.
Yes.
But this, I mean, the first bus scene is just unbelievable with the sounds. And
it looks like a real fight. Like, that bus scene was so great. I'm glad you brought it up, because it's like, that's what I want. Steven Seagal would have wrecked those guys. And that's entertainment for its own sake, but I mean, I'd much rather watch 90 minutes of this guy where it's like, oh yeah, he's obviously a superior fighter, but there's numbers, they have weapons. He was obviously like shaking the rust off in that fight, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, I remember what this is like. Yeah, this feels good. Yeah. And, it was just so satisfying. I love the storyline. This has a lot of spoilers in it, by the way. We can put spoilers in the description just so people know. But gosh, the setup of the raising of the family, like they didn't give that much. I speak specifically to Christopher Lloyd and the RZA. Like, all you got to see was a picture.
Yeah.
Like one picture of them together with their arms raised. It's like, oh, it's a happy family, and you don't need 2-3 minute scenes of backstory. You can tell these stories in such an easy and efficient way, and this movie does that to a T. And then, how fun was it to watch Christopher Lloyd? Like, I had no idea he was going to get involved that much.
Yeah, that was my wife's favorite part too. That was Megan's favorite part. And it was one of mine too. I mean, just seeing him go crazy with the shotguns, I loved every minute of that.
That's a lot of shotguns, Dad.
It was great, man. And the RZA, of course, with his sniper rifles. I mean, that hallway scene and that is one of the best shot action scenes that I've ever seen with a fucking
It was
gun.
So fun. I mean, even my dad that was his favorite fight scene, I'm pretty sure. It was... they did a great job. I knew the RZA was going to show up, so it's not like I didn't expect it, but I had forgotten about him.
Yeah.
Until he snipes. And then I'm like, oh, of course. So, like, even that was so rewarding. In the family aspect of it, I really liked the villain.
Yeah.
The villain was great.
Yeah, loved him. Loved the entrance of him being, a badass. Like, that first kill scene was unbelievable.
Oh, man. And, like, I love how they just little things, like he never moves for cars. Like, he just walks through traffic at all times, never breaks stride, never like, whoa, you go. No, it's just, I'm walking into my car, I'm walking out of my car. I'm going to walk into my club, I'm going to sing some bars.
Right.
And then I'm going to go talk to the villain owns and runs the bank, basically, for all the Russian mafia money.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying in itself, it sounds like.
That they have a pension plan for mobsters once they get out,
And he's the security for it. He runs it, and to prove that he is not because he likes to sing karaoke. I guess everyone's like, "Yeah, are you sure you're a tough guy?" This poor fuck just sitting there drinking his drink. He grabs this dude, he breaks a glass, and then just starts carving this man's face up. It then makes him kneel before all the other men and slice his throat with a broken martini glass.
That was great, man. And just like, that look, like, you knew, I mean, when he's walking through the crowd and he's shaking everybody's hand and happy, and there's that bad look that he gives him, like, oh, I'm just going to play it cool, but then he just, I'm just going to use this guy to prove, my strength right here.
That I will kill anyone at any time.
Yeah.
And it, I mean, the Black Russian.
Yeah. That was great. I wish he had more in that, man.
I do too.
God.
I
was hoping that would have been a fight between them.
Yes.
Because you think it would have been. Like, he had to have some other guy with, and that seemed like the guy that it would be. But,
yeah. And that's one thing I would have liked. I appreciate that a lot of the henchmen had backstory. I love that I love the brother who had seen like a lot of action in Afghanistan and stuff like that, and he has this brother-in-law who is you saw the movie if you're listening to this, hopefully, and we're not spoiling it for you, but the sort of, I've seen combat, I'm back in the States, but I'm still on fucking edge, everything, here's a gun, you need to protect your family, and Bob Odenkirk didn't want to hold the gun, and the guy thinks he's a pussy, and then finally when Bob Odenkirk's like, no, I need to set shit right, he just punches the guy in the stomach.
Just that gut shot,
He can't breathe. He's like, deep breaths, come on. I think, I mean, it's the best action movie I've seen since John Wick, probably.
Yeah.
Pure action. I don't consider, like, any of the Marvel stuff or any of that action movies. I consider that to be there. And it's very similar to John Wick.
Yeah. I mean, Russian mob, everything too.
Yeah.
You have the son who he beats up, and I love that, like, sticking the straw in his throat. Like, I knew, like, what was coming when that happened, and that was a great little bit, too. But, yeah, it was, and again, like, you wonder, like, how long do they dig to the barrel for Russians, Russian mob, but it works every time.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of Russians as tough guys, but I would like to see them explore another nationality of mobsters, too.
It was fun to see the initial break-in scene where the son tries to stop the burglar, and the dad, you think, like, it was they do a lot of great teases.
Yeah.
And so you think he's just backing out because he doesn't want conflict, but he realizes everything with his trained eyes, that the gun's unloaded, they're amateurs, they don't know what they're doing, they seem scared and nervous. And so he just takes one for the team, basically, and his kid thinks he's a damn pussy.
Yeah. That would be, as a father, like, during that whole scene and, like, knowing now at the end of the movie, it's like, man, I would not have, like, if I had a teenage son, like, I wouldn't be able to constrain him. I would want to show him, like, here's what watch this, kid. Like, that would be, that's
a huge risk to, like, let your son take one. Like,
Right. But
he's
again,
like,
he knew the gun wasn't loaded, and he would have stepped in probably if anything would have happened.
I'm sure
but,
he read the situation correctly. Where were they going? And in the stinger scene at the end of the credit scene, where
that I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're if they're going back to what the RZA and Odenkirk were doing, like and now Lloyd is joining Christopher Lloyd's his granddad or their father, excuse me, is joining now. But yeah, I mean, it could be a part 2, and this would have done so much better. I didn't look at opening numbers for the weekend, but I wonder, like, what it did, and I would think they're going to do a sequel. I would think they will.
I would love it. I think it's certainly good enough. The performances are great, and I hope they can see past pandemic numbers to offer it up as a possible franchise. I think they'll have to start going a bit more away from the John Wick. But I guess they can now, because now that he's let the beast out, he's fine.
Right.
And his wife's on board. It's True Lies, like, sort of, she's on board now, and she's obviously knows everything that he does.
Yeah. Did you like how it was kind of hinted at, but not, really described, as far as when he's, in the tattoo parlor when he's trying to get answers and find out where the thieves were?
Yes.
But like how he has this